can you just tell me real quick how you got started in the business and why you chose this for a career?
Well, it was either this or get a real job, so you can't beat that. And
Yeah.
but yeah, once you get the bug in racing, I got it at a very young age with my father. He had it. Unfortunately, he would have loved to have been a trainer, but he had to raise 7 kids and run a ranch. So I sort of picked up the reins from there, and I was at the age of 13, 14. I used to go everywhere with him, with our horses, and I just palled around with them, and I just loved doing it. And when I got to be age, you know, 15, I decided I wanted to be a jockey, and I bought all the equipment and all that. And I didn't tell my mother that because she didn't like me riding. So my dad used to pick me up from after school with my helmet, my boots, and my whip, and we'd go out in the boondocks, and I'd ride these match races they give me $50 to ride the races. So it was pretty dangerous. Now, when I think back, I can't believe I did it, but it was great, exciting for me, So in high school, in senior, I wanted to be a jockey, so I left to Bay Meadows after I graduated from high school. I stayed out a year from college. My mother got mad because I wanted to give it a run. So I worked for Dr. Allred at Los Alamitos. They owned Los Alamitos, so I was I was like his third rider. So he put me on some horses, and I won a couple races at Bay Meadows and worked really hard. Went to Los Alamitos, won a couple races. So it was fun for me, but I realized when I came back to Arizona, I wasn't going to be a jockey. I was too big. So and plus I wasn't really talented enough to be a jockey. But I got that out of my system. So I went to college. When I graduated, I got a real job there for a while. I didn't like it, and I gravitated right back to training horses. And I taught myself. I really never worked for anybody. So I learned trial and error.
Yeah.
A lot of error. So, but I made it this far. I won my first race, actually as a trainer, July 4th, 1971, Flagstaff, Arizona. And the year before, I'd won my first race as a jockey there, Flagstaff. So it all started in Flagstaff, Arizona.
Congratulations on your induction into the Hall of Fame, by the way.
Thank you.
Well-deserved honor. Tell me what it was like back there.
Well, it was very emotional for me because my wife, Jill, she surprised me and flew my older kids in the night before, and I didn't know they were there. So right before we got in the cars to go over to the Hall of Fame, all of a sudden I hear this surprise, and I see the kids come out. They made me all emotional because they couldn't make it because of school or whatever. But so they were there. So it was nice. It had all my family there, my parents. It was mainly for them, and they were all excited. And so I introduced them all. They all stood up, and my father and my mother, they didn't want to sit down. My dad was taking it all in, so it was pretty moving for me. I got all choked up. And my little girl Savannah, every time I looked across, she was crying. But it was very emotional. It's a great honor and very humbling for me. I showed a very vulnerable side. I've had a really great life up to now. I mean, I've been to all these places and running all these little fairs, and just never dreamed of being with the thoroughbreds.
Yeah.
Much less the Hall of Fame. I mean, when I got in thoroughbred racing, I was never thinking about the Hall of Fame. I was just hoping to maybe win a Breeders' Cup race or do something. I didn't even know how long I was going to last here, but I stuck with it, and there was times where I wanted to go back to the quarter horses.
Was it hard switching over from quarter horse to thoroughbred?
It was hard because it's very difficult because there's so much more involved. Training quarter horses is much easier once you get them, sharp. But thoroughbred racing, there's handicapping involved. There's different distances. You're going 2 turns. You're just totally different. I had to retrain my mind, my thinking, how to train horses. Like quarter horses, you don't train them at all. It's very light once you get them fit. And with thoroughbreds, the good horses, you really have to have them fit. But I sort of use the same mindset that I did with the quarter horses, because in quarter horses we run in futurity trials to qualify, and in the finals, so you don't want your horse to peak in the trials. You want him to peak in the next race. So I've used that part of it with my thoroughbred racing, where you want him to peak at a certain time, so you know what you can do with him. There's a fine line.
You got a young family. You work 7 days a week, year-round. Do you recommend this as a career?
Well, I mean, I think it's like anything that you're going to be successful in. You have to put a lot of hours and time in it, and you know, there's been times I've been very selfish. I've missed a lot of things. You know, I've missed a lot of, you know, the school functions, dance recital would be gone or whatever. But hopefully, when they get older, they'll understand and they'll be able to join me when I run in these big races. They're getting older now. They're starting to understand what it's like. I've had my two oldest sons with me here at Del Mar working this summer, so they're really getting into it now. So, and they're following me a lot closer than they did before. So, you know, when they get older, I'll be able to share this with them, and I think they really enjoy it. I'll make up for all those times when they were young, and especially when I was training quarter horses. I mean, it was really tough for them because you train in the morning and run at night, and that's really difficult, being a quarter horse trainer.
Yeah.
That's why night racing, Mike Pegram, when he offered me the opportunity, he said, you know, I want you to give up your night job and come over to thoroughbred. So, the hardest part was getting rid of my cowboy hat. Had to retrain my dude, you know. So, but it's all been, you know, I always feel like if it was meant to be, it was meant to be. And my family's always been very supportive, and it's brought my family really close together. I've got to share. They've all been there with me when I won the Kentucky Derby and the Preaknesses. We've had a great time, and a good horse really brings people together. That's what I love about the sport.
Yeah.
And so, and it keeps my parents, you know, they're 86 years old. They're struggling, you know, and but you know what? They get in front of that television and watch those races, and it keeps them going. They can't wait till I have something in so they can watch it, and it keeps them excited, something to really look forward to. So it's great.